with Don Drought, or rather, Don Drought Jr. in the 1M car. We've got an incident on the track, and we have a car stalled outside of turn number 2, just in front of the back straight.
Can't tell the number on that right now.
And that'll bring out the yellow flag.
17M of Larry Pinegar. No, that's 10D rather.
The 10D car. I will have to check on that too from our race officials. That would be Dan Nicolai Jr. from Papillion. He's the one who brought it out.
Well, that's who that'll be. By golly.
And the starter truck is out there to try to give him a boost and get him back into the fight. That brings out a yellow flag momentarily. Nicolai is underway.
In this race tonight, Lee Nelson, the 94 points champion of the sprint cars across the nation in Knoxville, with us tonight. So that's the level of competition we have here. Some serious national competition drivers mixed in with our regular locals. Sprint car driving at its best tonight.
Nelson is in the 11L car, and that is now in 5th position. They're flying past the cone. They've got the green flag, and Don Drought has got the jump, and Boston is making a challenge on Bruce Divis, who's got the low line, trying to take the lead, but he'll settle back into 2nd place. Don Drought, Bruce Divis, Mike Boston, Rodney Drown, the 2 car, Lee Nelson in that 11L, really taking a low line and getting in the loose stuff low. He's in 5th position. John Gerloff, the 24B, alone in 6th place. Jeffrey Lowry, the 45, in 7th. But the fight right now, again, at the front of the field. We've seen it all night long. Great racing tonight. The 1M car of Don Drought Jr. and the 24 car of Bruce Divis.
This is a familiar sight here at I80 Speedway. These two battling out week after week. Here they are doing it again.
Another battle back for 3rd and 4th position between Boston and Rodney Drought. Lee Nelson alone in 5th position. Divis really flies into those turns hard, takes that low line, but just can't quite get the momentum that Drought gets as he slingshots high. Flying around the track at 120 miles an hour. The best dirt track racing in the Midwest here at the I80 Speedway. We're glad to have you along with Bill Watts. I'm Bill Bowman. Kevin Kugler, our man in the pits, doing a great job. Glad to have you along tonight. The 360 Sprints, our A feature.
Wide open racing all around the track. Turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pretty much everybody settled down into a nice groove. Found a cushion up high. Nice, comfortable race.
Halfway through our 25-lap A feature in the 360 Sprints. Don Drought Jr. in the 1M car continues to dominate. Bruce Divis continues to give chase as they come up on slower traffic.
Looks like Bruce Divis may be making up a little ground, especially going into turns 3 and 4 at this time. I think a little bit at a time. If he just keeps doing that, he may catch him by the end of the race.
Well, he's got to move into that high line now with the slower traffic taking the low side. And he's able to get a little bit more momentum now coming out of turns number 2 and turn number 4 to make that run at Don Drought. Earlier on, it was Drought going high and Divis going low. Now they're both on that high side. They got to stay out of the marbles and stay out of trouble. Rodney Drought sits alone in 3rd place. The battle for 3rd and 4th is broken off as Boston settles into 4th place. Lee Nelson a few car lengths back in 5th. The 24B car of John Gerloff working its way around that low side. Really no contact of anybody on the track. The place to watch is at the front of the field. The 1M car of Don Drought, the 24 of Divis.
John Gerloff in the 24B car back in 5th or 6th, just kind of doing the same thing we've seen other points champions earlier tonight doing, just kind of saying, hey, you know, if I just finish this race, I'm going to walk away with a lot of money and a championship, big trophy from my fireplace. I think that's what he's doing. Of course, we got to spin out in good, nice recovery in turn 1 there. Car number 4.
And that was right in front of Divis, who was making a low side challenge. We had to worry about the guy that was taking that real low side and got near the low wall. But as you see coming down the front straightaway, Divis does appear to be making up a little bit of ground time after time, lap after lap on the leader, Don Drought, especially in the turns. And really has the power in the turns.
Yeah, he's going into the lower line and able to slingshot towards the top to catch the end of the cushion to zip him a little closer to Don Stroud Jr. coming out of turn 4.
Now we've got that slower traffic coming up. Now watch as they go high into turn number 2. Divis right behind. They come out of 2 on the back straight. The slower traffic passing by.
Divis taking that shortcut angle into the turns. I think it was every time we come around, he's getting a little closer to our leader.
23 car kicking up the high dirt. That's Terry Holloman. Slower traffic giving way to our leaders.
Green light racing rather. John Gerloff still sitting back in the pack. Just finish this race. Just finish this race. That's got to be what's going through his mind right now.
Good, clean racing here the last few laps. We've had a couple of incidents so far in the 360A feature. But the last few laps have been fantastic racing. Challenges between Bruce Divis and that 1M car of Don Stroud Jr. They're side by side into turn number 4. And Divis taking the low line. Can he get him side by side at the start-finish line? Divis sneaks in behind him as Stroud shuts the door and takes the low line for the first time tonight. Wow, look at him go around the track. There's Griffith, the slower traffic. Again, Divis now taking that familiar low line that he had early on, trying to get that lead, but the door is shut by Don Stroud. Fantastic racing the last 2 laps between these two. The battle at the front.
Absolutely, Bruce Divis trying to regain his momentum that he had, and he lost going into one of the turns a little earlier, but 1 lap left to try and catch the lead here.
The slower traffic has really been a factor here in this part of the race. The checkered flag is out for Don Stroud Jr. as he edges Bruce Divis for the championship in our 360A feature. Wow, what a last few laps.
Absolutely. This is one of some of the finest racing in the Midwest at its best right here at I80 Speedway. Of course, congratulations right now going off to John Gerloff,
who survived the race.
Just survived the race. Hey, I'm the track champion, 360 sprints. I'm walking away a winner tonight. 2 winners tonight in this division. You gotta like it.
Don Stroud in the 1M car.
Well, coming up next, we're going to take a look at kind of the funny cars of racing. The dwarfs.
Tell you all about that in a moment. The 1M car, Don Stroud Jr., our 360A feature winner. Boy, we go back to our Grand Nationals, our Pro-Ams, our late mods. We have not really had a clear-cut winner. Kyle Burke dominated in
Grand National,
the ARCA late models.
Late models, that's right.
And really dominated from start to finish, but it was a great race to watch because his car was so powerful and so clean around the track. And he had a couple of challenges from Ed Kosiski late and Johnny Sadoff. So it was great to see it in the ARCA late models. A clean race there, good racing, good cars, good drivers. As Don Stroud sits in his 1M car, the Harman's Camera winner of the 360A feature.
Well, race coming up next, the dwarf cars. Now, these are not small people in these cars. Don't get confused. These guys, you know, Brooks and Dunn at the Country Group race in a class very similar to this called the Legends, and they're very similar. And these cars go pretty fast. They got motorcycle engines in them, and they're small and fun to watch and very colorful.
They fly around the track. These are real hobby cars for these guys.
Absolutely. You can pull these around with the Mustang if you want.
If you look at these cars and you think that they're small, they are. And especially on a big track like this. We've got 12 entries. Our starting grid in row number 1, Tom Dooley in the 64 car, Scott Naggetts in the 54. Row number 2, Marvin Naggetts in the 45 and Troy Reeves in the 13. Row number 3, Ron Murphy in the 10 and Rick Havenridge in the 99. Row number 4, Larry Hyatt in the 86 car and the 4 car of Chad Iwan. In row number 5, Ron Daly in the 11 and Mike Parker in the 49. And in row number 6, Gary Jones in the 71 and Doug Aiden in the 95, or rather in the 5 car. In row number 7, Gary Vandermeulen, a late addition. He sits in row number 7. 13 cars, a late entry. And this race should be fun. 10 laps to the finish.